Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Been hanging in there for just a minute. We got weather around outside. We're just trying to make sure we can get this thing up and get it running good. So let us know. I know you know we're on, but let us know if you can hear us and see us okay, if the stream's going okay.
The addictive prepper says if you haven't made one, there's three. I think he meant ingredients, but he said three greediest cookies. uh, yeah, those cookies are pretty awesome. Once we tried them, that's the only cookie I've been making the last couple of weeks. I mean, well,
Yeah,
for about a month now, I guess. I've been making those and the almond ones.
yeah. That's to me that is the best cookie in the world. Since she started making these cookies, I just literally love them. I can't eat a lot of them at one time,
You
but
could eat a
oh, I
lot.
could, but I try to hold back as much as I can. If I want to stay out of the bathroom, let me put it that way. You eat that many pecans, you're gonna go to the restroom. So, but yeah, it's extremely warm here, y'all. It's in like I don't know, what is it, about
80,
80 degrees almost.
and it's 8 o'clock at night, so
Yeah,
it's still hot, y'all. We've got the door open. If you hear crickets and frogs and all that stuff, it's in the background.
yeah, it's been extremely hot here today. Now the weather that came through this morning was really, really bad. The town north of us,
Hattiesburg,
Hattiesburg,
where
was
I lived, it's hit pretty bad. 4 years ago, before Danny and I met, it was hit really, really bad, and it's almost in the same area, but this
yeah.
time it got a college, and they have shut down the college for a while. It's a junior college. So, and they're expecting more tonight.
Yeah,
Actually, we're under a
we're under a tornado
tornado
watch right now, so we're just
watch.
kind of,
Yeah.
we're just kind of hanging in there to see what the weather does. Looks like right now, it looks like some of the worst is going to go south of us and north of us. So we're just kind of, you know, trying to hang it in there. Yeah, Track Authority Project says they got it bad up in Meridian last night. Yeah, that same stuff that come through Hattiesburg went straight up through Meridian, Laurel, and it just it done a lot of bad damage. It looked like about an F4, F5 tornado went through the town and literally destroyed William Carey College. A lot of it. And I think there've been several people, if I'm not mistaken, several people killed, and
I think last count was up to 4 people,
yeah,
and that was just around Hattiesburg. Now, I don't know about Petal and even into Alabama and places like that. I'm not sure what happened in other places, but just around Hattiesburg.
yeah,
Um,
we need to keep Hattiesburg in our prayers because a lot of people up there don't have homes tonight. A lot of the major college there, William Carey, I think they shut it down, didn't they?
They were sending the students home, and from last I heard, all the local students. A friend of mine, it took her an hour and a half to get there, get her daughter, and get back out.
Yeah,
And they're checking everybody before they go in, and they're not just letting you ride around. But the problem was the foreign students that were there. They were trying to find places that would take the foreign students.
yeah.
Last I heard a couple of hours ago, they were trying to place them somewhere.
Uh, yeah, Blue Jay Bones and Teresa was talking about it. F3 or F4. I knew it had to be pretty bad. When I got up at 5:30 this morning, it was pretty bad, and I looked at the weather and I seen that it had already hit Hattiesburg. And after I seen the damage, I knew it was yeah, it was a F3, F4, F5. I knew it had to be somewhere in that area, because it was really bad.
And what's really tough is my daughter, a year ago today, is when they had a tornado, and she lives 15 minutes out of Hattiesburg
Yeah,
on the other side of the highway. And so last year on this same day, they had a tornado come through her area and she had damage. So this is pretty
it's getting to be
common.
common this time of the year because this is like
Yeah.
the fourth year in a row the areas right around Hattiesburg has been hit.
Yes.
So I mean, and it's almost been on the same exact day, and that's what's getting to be crazy about it.
Yeah, it's within, I'd say, 3 weeks. All
Yeah,
of it happens within the 3 4 week period there.
but
So
Anyway, it's good to see everybody in. We got, I'm not sure if our count's right, but it says we got 109 watching right now. So that's pretty good. Of course, we'd always like to have more, but, you know, it is what it is. So we've, let's see, what do we got going on here tonight? You said we want to.
I guess to start with, let me mention J&J Acres. I asked the kids there at J&J Acres to join me in my Through a Kid's Eyes videos. So in the links below, I did put J&J Acres Kids video up. It went up today. It's also in my playlist called Through a Kid's Eyes on our channel. So you can get to it either way. And if you haven't seen all these videos that these kids did, go back to my playlist and run all of them, because these kids did a really amazing job and they're not getting the views that they should get. The kids, I mean, these kids are really awesome, all of them, every one of them that participated in this. And I will be asking another family with kids probably sometime in February to do one. So y'all check out Through a Kid's Eyes videos with J&J Acres and the rest of them in my playlist.
Yeah, and two, we have a Dirtpatcheaven has a video that came up this afternoon with another one of our North versus South. She's doing the summertime one this Saturday. Next Saturday, I will be taking on the fall one between the North versus the South. Go check out her channel when you get a chance and look at North versus South. There's some things that she and I are discussing about differences between the North and the South that we've kind of come up with after sitting and chatting for a while. I think you'll enjoy the video.
And it's also in a playlist below. I did put our playlist up that has all the North versus South so far. There'll be 4 in it next weekend when we do the last one.
Yeah, next weekend is the final one. It will be the fall. And I'm trying to get it put together now. It's a little bit more difficult to put these videos together than it looks like it is. So y'all just have to bear with us and see if we can, see if we can get them done. And I do know it's buffering a lot tonight, and I apologize for that, but the weather around us is so bad. I'm just thankful. We were sitting here on pins and needles a while ago and didn't know if we'd even be able to get on the air. So we're just kind of thankful that we're even able to be on.
And if something happens that we do click out, you guys, we just know that we care. We love you guys, but it's dependent on weather. Right now, it is fine, but we don't know over the next 2 hours. We're really supposed to get some more rain.
We're under a tornado watch for about another hour and a half. So we're going to see if we just pray that nothing happens. We can just kind of keep staying here.
And so somebody asked the picture I put on Facebook of Danny remodeling. That is why we're sitting this way tonight.
Yeah, if you notice, we're at this particular angle in the house here. It's because Wanda wouldn't let me show where the fireplace used to be, because I've got that whole wall tore out. And I've got the fireplace took out. We're getting ready to put in a new wood heater, and it'll probably be a little over a week before we get it in. But I'm one of these kind that I don't want to wait till the last minute. I'd rather go ahead and get things tore apart and get it cleaned up and have it ready. When the new product gets here, I can just install it.
And I didn't really want to show y'all what it looks like right now, so we're going to wait, and we're going to do a video this week.
Yeah.
And it probably won't be the finished product until next weekend and possibly the weekend after.
Yeah, probably
maybe
the weekend after that. She got kind of upset with me because we got Tommy from Off Grid Nation, Off Grid Kid is going to be coming this coming week, and she's like, I can't believe you tore my house apart. While we got company coming, but
that's all right.
It's a homestead. Like I told y'all in one of our videos, the homestead home is just a tool to me. I mean, even though it's a nice home, it's just a tool.
Well, actually, B-Lady, what he did is we had a, what do you call it?
It's an I-80 heatilator fireplace insert.
And that instead of a regular fireplace that has brick and mortar, he had this heatilator in there. So we took that out, and we had help. His son-in-law was here today, and they'll be back here. His daughter and son-in-law will be here in a little while. They're spending the night again. And with his muscle, we got it out of the house, and Danny has done some work today, and we're getting a wood heater, but it's a more efficient wood heater.
Yeah, because
possibly next weekend.
It's like one that I've told y'all about this other heater that we've had behind us back here in the back. It's just not efficient for Wanda and I, because it only burns like sometimes we can get 2, maybe even 3 hours out of it before it actually, burns down to the point where it's not really heating the house that much. And that just means that we don't get to sleep much. So we've got a heater coming that has anywhere from an 8 to a 14-hour burn time on it, which will at least let us be able to get through the night sleeping before we have to actually, when we get up in the morning, at least it'll have coals in it where we can, we went ahead and, let me put it this way, we went ahead and bought a heater too big for our house because our house is really big and it's not laid out in the best way for the wood heater. So we went ahead and got one that's for a 3,000 square foot house rather than a 2,300 square foot house.
And so maybe it will be fine. The alderman says they're getting ready to hunker down, but it missed them last night. Yes, right now it's looking like it's a pretty good sized storm coming through. A little of it can be bad, but I'm thinking it's for the most part a lot of rain for us.
Yeah, I mean we've got some heavy weather coming through, but it looks like most of it just be rain. I'm hoping. Music. Well, we do have a weather radio. We just
we keep up. Danny's fabulous with this, keeping up with this weather. He can pretty much look outside and tell you what's going on, but he keeps the weather on his little tablet going all the time.
Yeah. I'm pretty much. I've been watching the weather for so many years. I can pull something up, and just by the shape of a storm, I can pretty much tell you what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And I very, very seldom ever miss it.
Yeah, and we keep up with it because we do have the cellar that we can go into. And if things look like it's going to be bad, we go to the cellar ahead of time. We don't wait till it gets bad.
Yeah.
It's better safe than trying to get to it in the middle of a tornado. We go early if any type circulation looks bad. Okay, this week we've had a lot of company.
This whole week's been company.
Well, since before Christmas, but last weekend, you guys know we had Empty Hammock here, and they left Sunday and went on to the coast, and I believe they went on to Gopher Green Living.
They went to Gopher Green up at Daniel and them.
And so they were kind of making a trip to visit 2 or 3 people while they were down. And we had a ball with them.
We had a blast with Barry and Molly and them. That was just hilarious.
10 minutes, y'all. 10 minutes into they got here. I can tell this because she's probably not watching, right?
Who? Molly?
No. Hammock Girl.
Oh, Hammock Girl. Okay.
Bless her heart. She came in and she had on these 2 long, pretty gloves.
They were Santa gloves.
Had Santa Claus on the hands, and she decided she needed to go to the bathroom after traveling, and I guess she took them off and had them in her hand, and she went to the bathroom. When she reached over and flushed the toilet, one of them fell, and she didn't tell anybody for 2 or 3 minutes. And her brother went to the bathroom, and then when he came back out, she sat by Molly and she kind of got upset.
She was over there, had her head put down like this. Yeah.
And Molly says, "What's going on?" And she started crying, and she says, "Oh, I dropped my glove when I flushed the toilet." And it was all Molly and I could do not to laugh. We were trying not to, but yet we knew it could be serious because it could stop the septic tank up.
Yeah.
And so then Danny and Barry go out.
Yeah, well, we took the lid. My septic system has a hole in it where you can get right to where the fluids and the waste drain into it. I have it designed that way. And Barry and I went out, and right as soon as we picked the lid up right there in that area, the glove just fell right down in there, and he reached and grabbed it right quick out of it. And we left it laying in the yard for like 3 or 4 days, and then I think they washed it and maybe bleached it down. I'm not sure, but
tell them what you and Barry did, though.
But Barry and I told Hammock Girl that she was going to have to go diving for this glove in the septic system.
They came in, and Molly and I were sitting there, and she's in between us, and Barry goes, "Come here." And she says, "What?" He says, "Come on, you got to go diving." And she says, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Mine and Danny's hands won't fit through the hole. Your little hand's the only one that will." And she stood up and she looked down and she says, "But I'm a little kid." And he says, "It don't matter. You got to go." And they took her outside, and she actually thought she was going to have to dive for a glove. But yet she came back in laughing. So they pulled it on her. It was so funny, but I mean, from that point on, we had something going the whole time. So
Yeah, we had a real great visit with Barry and them. Well, that was one of the best. They actually shot a documentary on us that I don't know exactly how long it'll be before Barry has this documentary.
he sent a message and said he's working on it. So within a week to 2 weeks, he should have it
Yeah,
up.
it's going. Y'all are going to find out a little bit more about Wanda and I. We didn't go in. We didn't tell Barry everything, but we were pretty transparent about a lot of our life. So, a lot of y'all just be looking for this video when it comes out because Wanda and I is going to share a little bit of our life story and a little bit of our history in this documentary that Barry's going to be putting out.
Yeah. And then when they left on Sunday, Monday we got a call. Sustenance N Covering is somebody that we kind of watched before we actually watched YouTube. I mean, every now and then we'd pick it up and watch, and he was one of the people we watched, and we really did not know that he lived here in Mississippi. And back when Cruising the Coast was going on here, he did some interviews on Cruising the Coast, and so we figured out he was here in Mississippi, and we contacted him, and so we had been communicating back and forth for a couple of months now, and he called Monday and says, "Look, can I come over?" So we told him, "Yeah, to come on," and we had a really fun visit with him.
It was a very interesting day with Sustenance N Covering. We had a lot more in common than I thought we would have.
And he came thinking, how am I going to squeeze the Bible in with Homestead? And Danny's thinking, okay, how are we going to talk about homesteading with the Bible? Because, we were trying to figure all this out. And Danny usually has no problem working in. But at 5 minutes after he got here, they were like just going on 90 to nothing. Yeah, it was so fun.
It was kind of fun. But yeah, Heidi, I'm sorry about Barry getting all your chickens and him eating them like that. The teleporter's not quite dialed in just right yet. Just keep hanging in there, and hopefully we'll get some chickens in your direction.
Yes, and I saw that, I think Mr. Rain or somebody said that we needed to tune the teleporter a little bit, and we needed to prepare people in case they got the chickens, how they could send it on to Rain Country instead of them stopping at Barry's. He needed to forward them on, in other words.
No, we are still, Mr. Rain, we're still working on getting the teleporter calibrated because just as soon as we do, we're going to bring you here.
Some way, somehow.
Yeah, we're going to get y'all out of that wet mess you're in up there.
Yeah, and we have the old Alabama gardener with us tonight. And y'all, he had surgery Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday, but he can correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
And he was already up and going Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's been doing, looks like really well.
My mom and dad both had that very same surgery done a couple of years ago. So it's I'm glad to see that Mr. Charles is up and doing good, and the recovery time should be pretty quick.
I'm going to have my fan.
You know what? It's because the fan over ain't on.
I know, but Miss Big Lady, she took care of me.
Well, y'all hold on just a minute for Wanda.
Before I overheat.
Oh, wrong one.
He's determined. Okay. All right. Mr. Charles said he did some work outside today. It's hot. Oh, he's putting us in the dark. What are you?
Oh, give me a minute, dude. I'll get it right in a minute.
You're putting, y'all, I'm not sure about this man sometimes. We don't have but about 10 lights, and he's trying to adjust all of them.
Yeah. When I built this house, there's only about 20 switches in this room here because there's so many different kinds of light in here. This house is set up for different types of entertaining, different types of mood settings. There's speakers all in the ceilings. There's speakers in every room in this house. You can turn on any kind of music in any room in the house, and it's just designed to be that way.
So now he's trying to cool me
I've got a ceiling fan on above us here, trying to get one to cool it off a little bit. I had to cut the lights down in the rest of the room, but
I have this. This is a fan that Miss B Lady sent. She sent me some, and y'all, it at least put some air on you. It makes me feel a little better. Okay, so now.
Okay.
We're
my porch time this week. I figured the video that I put up on Porch Time this week was going to be a very controversial one, but I didn't intend it that way because there's so much hoopla out there today about tiny houses and everybody wanting tiny houses. Let me tell you about tiny houses. There is an agenda with tiny houses. The federal government is trying to get as many people as they can to give up their big farms and their big homes and move into tiny houses. That's why this movement has started, according to what I've been able to find out. The government is trying to downsize the people and take away from people owning big pieces of property like our forefathers did, and trying to get us actually down into the smaller things so that they can have more control over us. And I don't do tiny houses. Now, I may have to live in a tiny house one day if God says I have to, but if it's at all possible for me to live in a normal house, say 1,200 square feet or 1,000 square feet, then that's what I'm going to do. I know my home right now is 2,300 square foot, and I'm thankful for that because the simple fact is we would not be able to host people like we do. We would not be able to have our family come and stay with us like tonight. My daughter's going to be here with all her kids. Living in a bigger house like this is really nice when it comes to that kind of things. And plus, people don't understand with tiny houses, when you have these hurricanes and when you have tornadoes like come through Hattiesburg tonight, these little tiny houses just get tore all to people in pieces and people die. So the bigger the home you live in, the better chance you have of being able to survive. And plus, the tiny houses just, unless you've got a lot of outside buildings, there's just no way to be a self-sufficient prepper or a homesteader in them, because I have looked into it. And yes, Music Well, you're exactly right. The other ones of you, Southern Bee Lady, it's all about Agenda 21. The 6 coastal counties where I live at has already gone under Agenda 21. We're under international code. And
it's called Agenda 2030 now, I think.
Well, yeah, it is. Well, supposedly by 2030 is when it's all supposed to be coming to fruition. But there's nothing wrong with living in a small home. But Wanda and I here, as much canning as we do, and as many, like we have 300 and 400 pounds of potatoes a lot of times we're curing. It's just, it takes our whole house to do that, y'all. And like I said in the video, homesteading is hard work. And if you plan on getting a good night's rest and you're in a little 400 or 500 square foot room, is what I'm going to call it, because that's all it is, you cannot rest comfortably.
It's hard enough. I mean, just like he and I in one bedroom, if he's having issues with his health,
yeah,
it's hard enough if he has to get up. If he had to stay in that room the whole time and fumble around and do things and stuff, he would be waking me up. Or if I get up and do something, I'm going to be waking him up if we're in a 14 by 16 area. But as it is, he can get up and go to another room, and at least one of us gets sleep for a while.
Yeah.
Usually me, but.
Yeah, Mr. Raines said 1,000 square foot house would be great, but you'd need a 5,000 square foot shop. I agree, Patrick.
That's it.
I mean, if it wasn't for my big shop and everything that we have, I mean, I don't know how we'd, us being completely homesteading.
We have to have the shop because
we have to.
Danny, when he built this house, he didn't have a shop. He actually had a trailer to start with all his tools under the trailer. And then when he built this house, how long? It was like 4 years before he had a shop?
Yeah, it's like 4 years before I actually built my shop after I built the house. And you got to understand, our forefathers, when they came to this country, according to what I've been able to find out in historical studies, is that they actually built their barn before they actually built their home.
And built a big barn.
They built a huge barn. And I've got a lot of flack from people going, oh, our forefathers lived in little tiny houses. Yeah, but our forefathers had huge barns. They had big corn cribs. I mean, they had places for livestock, places for vegetables. They had outside kitchens. I mean, they had all these kind of different things that worked for them.
They had smokehouses and corn cribs and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And a shotgun house, yes, that is like what Danny had planned to build here was a shotgun type house, right? Where it
Yeah,
was
my
long.
original first home when I built this house here was going to be a shotgun style house with just a fireplace or a heater on one end of it where it could blow straight through the middle of it all the way to the other end. But I decided to go with a country Victorian with a little bit of an Arcadian look to it. And now I've got a house that's got 9 hips on it and 5 valleys and 2 gables. And I mean, it's a
Well, the
very
deal
difficult
is,
roof.
if you watch and you see all these people that move into these tiny houses, check them out in 2 years. Give them 2 years to
Yeah,
see if they're still in a tiny house. Now, some people they do that in order to get debt free, and I understand that. You can move into something really small, pay all your bills, and then
yeah.
build. That's doable because years ago, my husband and I at that time, we built a 20 by 30 house to get out of debt. We had no debt, and we lived with 7 of us. There was 5 kids in a 20 by 30 house, and we had 2 bedrooms on the top stairs, which were 10 by 12s or 12 by 12,
Yeah.
something like that. It's doable. But within a year, we were adding on a room. Within another year, adding on another room. So we didn't stay in a small house. We kept adding. And I'm pretty sure anybody that gets into a little, what they call tiny houses now, you're going to add to it at some point in time, or build
Yeah.
shops or build outdoor kitchens. Or, I mean, you're going to have the room. So why not just build the house to start with?
Yeah, Quake Lake said she'd never heard of shotgun houses. Shotgun houses came into existence during the kind of back during the Great Depression era, maybe a little bit before. What happened is they set up camps, like logging camps. For instance, my dad worked in logging camps. My grandparents worked in these logging camps. And what they do, they would have these they're just straight houses. They have just a straight gable roof running on them. They're usually not real wide, but they can be up to like 30 feet long. And you can stand at the front door and look out the back door. It's just a straight shot through house,
And
very economical.
it could have like the front could be 2 bedrooms on each side of the breezeway. The next could be the kitchen and living room and a bathroom or whatever. But you have that breezeway all the way through the middle. And it just, something about those houses were just different. I mean,
Yeah, they would just have them lined up in rows down through the camps where people worked at, and you know it was just more economical to build something like that. Okay, but yeah, the tiny house movement, it's really a movement that's, and I hate to use the word movement because that's what it is. It's just a movement in this country right now. I feel like that if people continue to follow this route, that in the near future, they're going to look back whenever I mean, because let me put it this way, you don't never know what kind of life-changing event is going to take place. One of you could get hurt, you could be in a wheelchair, you could have a child that becomes disabled, and if you live in a tiny house, that is going to be that's going to be a very miserable situation, not only for you, but for the person that becomes disabled, or if you're very elderly. There's no way you can climb the ladders to get up into the bunks up on top of these things because the bunks is usually real small. It's just not feasible for people when they start getting on up in age. It just gets to be too dangerous. And then if you've got kids, there's a risk of them falling off of a bunk up top, somebody getting hurt. It's just you know, there's just too many things that can go wrong. Now, if you are looking for someone just to camp in on a weekend or somewhere like that, you know, it's fine to have something like that to camp in or spend a weekend in. But as far as wanting to live in one permanently, Danny's not going to be one of them who wants to do it. Let me just put it that way.
and if something happened to our house, we do have the shop, we do have the cellar, we have places that we could live. And that's not what we're talking about. If you're in a situation that, say, a tornado took the house or something, you do have to compromise for a while. And we would do that, but it would be with the intention of building back at least 1,000 square foot house, you know.
Now, Paula Kroger is actually right because people are paying big bucks for these houses. And once you've lived in them for a few years, the resale value on them is going to be absolutely nothing. I mean, you're not going to be able to resell them.
And we were looking, some of the tiny houses were selling for what, $80,000?
Well, some of them go up to $80,000, and here in
And
Mississippi, you can build a nice home for $80,000.
Yeah, you can build like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home for that.
I mean, I built a house for my parents that was 1,100 square foot, and I didn't charge them any labor for me or anything like that. But for just the material alone, me building that house was only $54,000, and I mean, you can't get any better than that.
South Georgia Hydroponics says, but for suburban single liberals, they're perfect. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I guess yeah.
That's usually who's living in them. And lots of times those people, it is better to have a tiny house than some of the apartments they're having to pay for.
Oh, I agree.
They would be better off because all they're doing is sleeping there. They're coming in, spending a few hours at night and going back to work.
But if you're going to buy one of those things, buy it on a trailer where you can pull it away, because that way, if you ever decide to build a home, you can park the tiny house beside it. If you want to go camping on the weekends, you just hook up to it and take it somewhere and go camping in it. I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah. Okay, so now his English pea trellis.
Oh, my English pea trellis. Yeah, we got a video up this week on something that Wanda and I is trying this year that's new. We bought the cattle panels, and we took the bolt cutters and cut them in half and stuck them in the ground and got the rebar drove in there to kind of help hold them up. We're going to be double rowing our English peas this year because the truth of the matter is Wanda and I are getting older, and we're trying to move stuff closer up to the house here where we're at. And the garden we have up here by the house is only about 1/4 of an acre, which is not big enough to grow very much food in, as far as being able to have enough food to last all year. So we're trying to really compact that garden down and get as much out of it as we can. So we've learned that it takes six, to get this right, it takes 6 60-foot rows to produce 60 pints of English peas for us to put up for a year.
And that's if they make perfect.
That's if they make perfect and do really, really good.
And they usually make reasonable.
We usually get between 50 and 66 jars off of those rows. But to have 6 rows in a garden takes up so much space. So this year, like we said, we're trying to shrink it down. We're putting a panel through the middle. We're going to double row plant. That way we can do 6 rows and actually 3 rows. And we're going to see if we get the same amount of turnout with that as we do with planting 6 individual rows, taking up most of our garden area. And we'll let y'all know how that goes, because, you know, English peas do grow up to be 3 and 4 feet high, and the trellis is only 26 inches tall. But, you know, we may have to add on to the top of it. I don't know yet, but it makes it a whole lot easier. We're looking for something that will last a lifetime for us.
Yeah, and S.G. Woodard said that he bought about a 400 square foot home for $6,000. It was the little, I guess, like the modular.
Yeah, we have those here. Yeah, they make them
they're
modular
not that
homes.
big, but they're really good. They're using it as a schoolhouse. I had friends that did that.
Yeah.
Those little buildings are excellent backups. They make an excellent backup, and you don't spend $80,000 on it. You know?
Oh no, here you can buy these little homes here. I call them homes. They're sold for sheds. They're not allowed, because we're under international code. They're not allowed to sell them to live in, actually. But they're like 14 to 16 feet wide and can be up to 20 feet long. Some of them's even 24 to 30 feet long. They'll actually bring them to your property and drop them off and set them up. They come pre-wired with windows and doors. You have to come in and put the insulation in them and put any kind of finished material you want on the inside. They come with windows and all that kind of stuff. And actually, they look pretty nice on the outside. I mean, they would pass for a real nice cabin. Some of them is big enough to do that. But as far as living in one permanently and homesteading, I just don't think they'd be economical.
Yeah. Okay.
What else we got going on? You made your pecan cookies this week.
Yes, I saw when people came in that a lot of people were talking about the cookies. Y'all, those are the easiest cookies ever to make, and they're awesome. If you haven't tried them, you need to. You can use pecans or almonds. I had somebody asked about Oh, I don't remember what another nut, but yeah, I would think walnuts, just about any type nut. You just blend it down, or not blend it, process it.
Process it, yeah. Take a food
And
processor.
I didn't make mine into powder. I just made them into little teeny chunks about the
Yeah.
size of
Well, I like to
pebbles.
taste the I like to taste the nut. I don't want it to be like a meal,
Yeah, we
almost.
don't want it like flour. You want it still in pieces, you know. And so the pecans turn out really well, and they taste like a toasted pecan.
Yeah,
And that, I mean, it's just awesome.
yeah, and it's to me, it is the greatest cookie in the world. I mean, literally, it's real easy to make. It's got three ingredients. And if you're a diabetic, you may not want to eat this cookie, but if having a little bit of sugar doesn't bother you, then you talk about a cookie that's a quick picker upper. This is one. It's really a good for you. Tim Hood has, how much food should we have on hand? Tim, I personally like to keep about a 3-year supply of food on hand. I feel like that's a pretty good safety net to have because if you got just 1 year and you screw up that first year trying to survive on it, if a life changing event takes place, say there's no power, the grid's down, or there's some sort of natural disaster takes place, and you're just trying to get it all figured out the first year, and you don't do too good, and then you don't have anything to eat the second year, then you basically screwed up. So why not go ahead and try to shoot for 3 year supply of food so that so that you can survive. I mean, that's why a lot of people asked me in wonder this past year when we were digging our potatoes and all. They said, y'all going to eat 400 something pounds of potatoes? Well, yes. I mean, by the time we can 100 jars of potatoes, and then we eat fresh off of them, and plus we have some left in the cellar to plant this spring.
Yeah, we probably
Four
still
hundred something
got.
pounds is not a that's not a
That's not
bad number.
unreasonable.
That's not unreasonable. Um, Now that doesn't count the sweet potatoes because we actually had what 200 something pounds of sweet potatoes, and
I think something like that. And we're
and we're almost out of them now because we
mhm.
eat we eat potatoes every day of our life here.
So yeah, we our stuff. Danny and I have also a lot of dried things like dried vegetables, grits, cornmeal, rice,
Yep,
dried beans.
we
We've
have.
done all that so that if we do run out of our canned stuff, we still have a backup with dried stuff that lasts
Yeah,
a lot longer than some of your canned stuff. And we even have some things in Mylar bags, um, like
we take like taco well, it's not Mylar bag. We have vacuum packed.
vacuum pack
We
bags.
vacuum pack things like chili seasonings and taco seasonings and all this kind of stuff because a lot of people said, "Oh, there's no way I could eat a squirrel, or there's no way I could eat certain types of meat." Well, you take those animals and if you mix a little taco seasoning with them, or a little fajita seasoning, or
Chili
chili mix
mix.
or something like that, that meat turns out to taste really, really good, and it allows you to really extend your survival food harvest
A
a
lot longer.
lot longer.
I started doing that last year because I couldn't handle the thought of eating a lot of squirrel or unknown meats if it gets to that. And so we thought, I'll just buy up seasonings. And I have all kinds of
Yeah,
seasonings that I grow. But if something happened that they put something into the atmosphere that my
yeah,
seasonings don't grow, I do have a backup. So, I mean, I probably have almost any kind of seasoning I want, but I have a backup too.
yeah. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that most people don't think about whenever you're stocking up for the future. If you can vacuum pack a lot of these seasonings, I mean, you can get a lot of these seasonings on a lot of times seasoned mixes. Let me say
Yeah.
on sale a lot of time for like 50 cents a pack. And if you do, I mean, Wanda and I might pick up 20 packs of something because I have to have gluten free. And when we see gluten free stuff like that come up, we'll buy 20 to 30 packs of something and bring it home and put two or three of them in a bag and just vacuum pack them. And, we have big garbage cans that we just store this stuff in because it'll last for years and that stuff. And it seems to work out, pretty good for us.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't mention, Sustenance and Covering brought us a bunch of satsumas.
Yes.
I mean, probably 200
He probably
satsumas.
bought us 200 or more.
And y'all, these were the sweetest things, and they had no chemicals on them. They were grown organically, and I took and juiced some, and then I used all the peelings. I've dehydrated, so if anybody needs any type of orange peelings, go to my Etsy store. I've got them for sale. I've still got quite a few now to last us for a while if people need them.
Yeah, and you talking about stocking up and survival things. I mean, we have things like Danny corn grits. I mean, we've got we did some oven canning on flour. So we have, I don't even know how many quart jars of flour we have canned that will last indefinitely. We can butter. We have, I don't even know how many jars of butter we got now. There's so many jars of butter canned.
And I've got more to do.
And we've got a whole pile of butter still to go. We try to can it because that way we don't have to have it in a refrigerator. We don't have to have it in a deep freeze to make it last. Once you can it and put it in that jar, it'll last for a long time that way. And that's just the whole thing for us. We try when we grow our vegetables each year. If we grow green beans, we try to make sure we've got at least one jar of green beans for every day of the year. If we grow carrots, we try to make sure we've got one jar of carrots for every week in the year. Yeah. If we grow English peas, we try to make sure we've got at least one jar for every week in the year. And it just goes on. If we do field peas, we try to make sure we have a jar a day for field peas because they're so prolific. Since Old Alabama Gardener shows us how to can okra,
we're going to be doing
now
that
we can our okra because there's no sense in putting it in a freezer. And by canning it comes out and we fry it. It's actually better than it was when it was fresh.
It's awesome. And Tim Beverly's asking, how do you can butter? I did a video, didn't I?
I think you did a video on
canning butter. I think I did
butter.
A video on canning butter. If not, I meant to. You oven can butter. You melt it. Wait.
No oven can butter.
Not oven can. You put your jars in the oven and get them hot.
You get them good and
hot.
I
think it's 200 or 225, 250, something like that.
Each of jars at 250.
And you leave them for approximately an hour, but you have to go back and don't quote me on times because I'm just off the top of my head. But you take and get your butter melted, and you take one jar out at a time, and you put your butter over in it, and you cap it, and then you go by and shake it ever so often to keep the what do you call it inside mixed. It needs to be mixed.
Just your solids and your liquids will separate in the butter, so you have to shake them every.
About every 5 minutes, I'll walk by and shake them, and I did like 16 jars here a while back, and so time you shake 16 jars and walk away, you got to come back and shake them again. And in about 30 minutes or so, an hour at the most, they'll start cooling off and liquid solidifying, and they look really great in a jar. And they'll last. I mean, I followed Starry Hilder's recipe, and she was saying she had some she had done 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, it lasts a while. I did not know you could do it, but I've had no problem with butter. But granted, I've not had mine 5 years. I've only had mine 6 months.
About that, yeah.
And I've not had anything bad happen to it yet. So
now, Suburban Hillbilly is asking about the okra. When we did the okra, it wasn't water bath and it wasn't canned.
No, the okra. We did a video on that too. Y'all will have to go back on and check out the canning okra video. You do not water bath and you do not pressure cook.
You use vinegar, don't you?
You use vinegar, and you would think it would have a real vinegary taste, but you don't put enough vinegar in it to pickle it. It just is enough vinegar in it to preserve it. You, I think you stick the okra over in boiling water for so many minutes, and I can't remember how many. And then you have your jars hot, and you pack it in hot jars. And as it cools with that vinegar in it, it will seal.
Yeah, it'll seal.
The vinegar preserves it. And Old Alabama Gardener's got some. I think his is a couple of years old or better, and He says his is still good, and I know we did ours at the first of the summer, and ours is awesome. I'm gonna tell you, we really
Yeah,
like
we
it.
like ours. Old ways, new time says, can you keep the butter in the heat of the summer?
Ours is in the
Ours
cabinet.
is in the cabinets, and we haven't had any problems with them. They don't try to melt or anything like that. They seem to be doing real good.
Yeah. I wouldn't put them in a place where they're getting sun, and I wouldn't put them somewhere where they're extremely hot. But here in our house, I mean, the hottest it gets is maybe up to 80.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's went all summer with that. So
yeah.
I
I
think
think
it's
it's
all right.
fine. I mean, we can meat also. There's just several things that we do here. Actually, we've learned that ground beef that's canned actually has a better taste once you take it out of the can and use it, or take it out of the jar and use it. Actually has a better taste than fresh does. Um,
And it's very easy. If you've already got canned meat, oh, it makes life a lot easier.
it
And
does.
recently I canned some dried beans. I cooked them and pressured them. And so all I've got to do, I've got my meat already done. I've got my beans already done. I can make chili in 5 minutes or less. You
Yeah.
know, it won't
Or if
take
you
no
want
time.
tacos or something like this, you can dump the meat out of the jar, heat it right quick. The beans are already cooked in the jar. You take them out, mash them. You can have refried beans. I mean, it's just
It's very quick.
very, very quick. It's very efficient to use.
Okay. I think we've about covered all our subjects except for prayer time. So y'all have any questions, any more questions?
Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, just let. I mean, I've let some questions get past me here. I know I
Y'all will
have.
have to ask, I think Off Grid Kid has made it tonight. Did you enjoy your pizza? I think he was going after
Yeah, him and his
pizza.
dad was going after pizza a while ago. I mean, we did get to see some of that.
Yeah. Yeah, canned meat and beans and any vegetables. Um, I'm telling y'all,
We
it's easier on me to come in during the day or any time and just open a jar, heat something up, and us eat.
Yeah, that's become because during the certain times of the year we stay so busy here that it's almost difficult for us to have time to spend much time in the kitchen. So to have everything pre-done like that, where you can just walk in and dump it in something and heat it right quick, and then have still you've got a good quality meal. Um, I think that that's a good way to go.
Okay, so some of them are starting to put up some prayer requests, I
Yeah,
see.
it's good. Y'all just keep putting them
And
up because the more people that see them and the more people we have praying for things, the better off we'll be.
and Rick at Two Country. We've not heard from him
No.
in a month or so, but you guys just keep him in your prayers too. For now, he's still holding his own as far as we know. We've not heard any different, and they haven't let us know anything else. So y'all just keep remembering him.
Yeah, and remember our country. We've made the transfer now from one president to the next. There is a lot of protests going on in this country at this time, and just pray that this can be a peaceful demonstration, and these people can get their heads screwed on their shoulders right, and maybe we can get off to a good start. The things that President Donald Trump said is he said some pretty bold things. I don't know if he's going to be able to live up to the things he said. I know he's already started signing a lot of executive orders, and it just to him to undertake the things he's going to want to undertake is going to probably make a lot of people upset. And let's just pray that we don't have we don't have a lot of problems because of this. Um, I see a lot of people saying they have to go to Justin Rhodes. I don't know why Susan Sullivan says she has to go to Justin Rhodes, but it is what it is. Um,
Oh, they're talking about the person. Remember,
oh yeah,
she was talking about
the
the.
Jamersons, their son Noah or whoever it
Yes,
was.
that's who they're talking
Okay,
about. That go to Justin Rhodes'
yeah,
site. They have up a link to help that family. That's what she's talking about. Not they have to go to it. Not she has to go to it, but you go there for that to help that family.
Patrick's asking, "Are you not president anymore, Danny?" Well, we had to turn it over to Mr. Trump. He seemed like he was going to be the man to get the job done right now, so we're going to give him the reins. Even though I do have a presidential video going to be coming up here in the next, maybe, I don't know when it'll be, probably a month from now, maybe.
Probably.
I do have a presidential video coming up here from where we've had some issues that came up. We had to do some videoing about a presidential. You know.
Danny is king. Yes, Danny is a king.
Yes, I am a king, actually, literally.
And I tell him because I married a king that I'm a queen and my children are princesses. And so we've got. It's been a joke since we got married, since he was a king. Yeah,
I think we've got a few things in the future that we're gonna have to kind of watch for. You know, with the new president. I'm hoping that he can do some of the things he said he can do. I'm not sure how it's going to go over, you know, because there's going to be a lot of people that's going to get upset.
And it's going to be a fight.
It's going to be a fight, y'all. He's got a hard road ahead of him because it's been so many years getting there that it's going to be hard to undo it very fast. But he sounds like
he's willing to.
Sounds like he's willing to try anyway. And if he is, then you know what? The country's already divided, so I don't know what difference it makes. I think we just need to go for it. I'd like to see jobs come back to America. And the speech he made was not a dark speech. I sit there and listen to every word of it while he was doing it. And I think that the bee lady wants to know, am I ever going to tell what is coming? At some point.
Yeah, he's got to get back on All God's Children. We've had, with company being here for the last month, and we still another week at least. He's got to get back to doing enough studying, and he's got to have some quiet time. And we've not had a lot of quiet time because even when we don't have company, we're working.
Yeah, we're trying to play catch up.
He started this project over here, so we still have another couple of weeks with it. And we're going to be planting English peas this next week and probably potatoes the week after.
Yeah, we've got English peas and potatoes to go in. We've got to get the ground ready, and it's doing all this raining right now. So we're going to pray that we can get all this done and, get it in time. So we'll just have to see.
So we've got a few things coming up, and we'll just work with it and go with it. We'll probably have a lot of gardening videos before long, things that's going on out in the garden.
Yeah.
I do know he trimmed fruit trees, and I think it was Nikki said something about apple trees blooming earlier. And yes, we have blooms on a lot of our trees. We've got
blooms on a lot of our trees already, which I know they're going to get bit.
And our huckleberries. If anybody lives in the South that has huckleberries, go look. They're all blooming right now.
I seen we two come on here. I just seen them. The chat's going so fast. I just happened to see it. They said they was able to make it tonight, so that's pretty cool. We haven't canned any bacon actually. That's one of the things we got to try and see if we can get some bacon done because that's something that would last in a jar if it was canned.
Yeah. So right now we've got just a few minutes.
We ain't got but like a minute and something left. So let's just go ahead and pray.
No, it's 8:53. You got 7.
Oh, I'm looking at something else up here. I got 7 minutes. Never mind, y'all.
Okay. We have a couple of people that Danny talked to off and on, and Keith has a ministry that Danny talks to. And he's asked Danny to remember that ministry in prayer, and we want to do that.
And also to pray for his boss because he's having.
Dale's the other one.
Oh, Dale's the one who said pray for his boss because he's having seizures.
Yes, just came on suddenly, I think, this week. So those 2 men had asked for prayer for those things. Then the tornado victims in Hattiesburg, you guys, everywhere, even in Alabama, wherever, and tonight, the weather tonight could get bad. Let's just pray that it doesn't, but let's keep that in, everybody remember that. Anybody else? Patera's husband.
Patera's husband, James.
They were back into the emergency room last weekend, I think, or the first of this week. So you guys, Patera's got a lot on her. I've got her shirt on. We don't want to forget the conference.
The Appalachian Conference is going to be going
May
on.
6th, and she's got that conference going on. She's trying to deal with, she's got her channel, she's got her animals.
Her farm, her homestead, her husband,
and the
kids.
With the homeschooling.
She's really got a lot on her shoulders, so young.
And we want to really remember her.
And Okie Rob, did he say he was having surgery?
He's had surgery.
But he's having another surgery. He's got to have one on each arm. So Okie's going to be having surgery.
Yeah, his Tuesday. I see he just popped up Tuesday.
Oh, okay. I remember seeing his. I saw his video the other day, and he was talking about that.
Yeah.
So
and then we saw a lot of you guys have a lot of
prayer requests going up there, and really and truly, the only way to get things answered is to bombard the throne of God, and and I think that prayer is the way to do it. So that's why we like to use prayer on our channel, because it seems like that God honors it. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not going to go on, and I'm not going to be the kind of person that tells you that if you're a specific religion and you don't want to hear my prayers, then you need to turn the channel off. I'm just going to pray. If you don't like what you hear, then I'm sorry. Maybe you need to get saved, or maybe you need to get your life right with God, or whatever. That's one thing I do not do, is make apologies for the Word of God. It is what it is. God wrote it. He intended for it to be a specific way, and I'm just going to put it out there as that. So, and I know a lot of y'all are not going to be able to see a good stream right now because the weather's fixing to start getting bad out here. But if you don't get a good stream during this time, go watch it
in a
replay, and maybe you can get it without having the hesitations in it and the hiccups that's in it right now. So I think maybe we should, we got 3 minutes. I don't want to get into Zach's time, so why don't we just go ahead and have our prayer and see if we can, get the night going. Father, we want to come to you tonight. We just want to, first of all, ask that you forgive us where we've failed you, Lord, the kingdom of heaven and others, Father, and our fellow man and our fellow brothers in Christ. Lord, just forgive us of all these sins. And Father, I just want to ask that you'd look down from your holy throne, and as we bring these petitions up before you, Lord, that you would, Father, that you would just have mercy and grace and show grace to us here, Lord. Father, the people on this channel tonight has thrown up a lot of prayer requests, Lord. There's just so many of them I've seen scroll by. There's no possible way I can remember each and every one of them. But Father, we know that you are the great physician, and Lord, that you can reach down and you can see each and every one of these requests that's been made. Lord, that you can work a miracle. You can heal these people. Lord, you can come in and you can give peace where it's needed. You can give grace where it's needed. And Lord, you can give everybody the peace that passes all understanding. And Father, we know that you're capable of doing that because you've done it in our life, Lord. That's why we are so adamant about telling people about you, is because in our own personal life, you've stepped in so many times and you've filled a need, you've corrected things in our life, Lord. And Father, there may be people here tonight that there's strongholds in their life. They may have some sort of addictions, Lord, that they're just needing help with, and we'll ask that you give them the strength to be able to be victorious over these addictions and strongholds in their life. And Lord, we think about people who may be having marital problems and financial problems and physical, emotional, mental, Lord. Lord, they just need help. And Father, we just pray that you would just answer those requests that were made. And Father, I want to pray for our country, and I want to pray for our new president, Lord, and the cabinet that he's selecting right now. Father, we noticed on every TV channel we watched that they were praying for the wisdom of Solomon to be granted to this man. And Lord, that's a pretty steep request right there. But Lord, I pray that if it's your will, that this will be done so that Mr. Trump will be able to raise up a great cabinet. Lord, because we know behind every great president is a great cabinet, man. A man of God needs advisors, because the Bible speaks about that. And it tells us that there's wisdom and counsel, Father, with godly counsel. And So we just pray that you'll meet this man's needs now and bless our country. Father, we want to pray for Israel. We want to pray that their land not be divided, Lord, but they remain a nation now. Father, we just want to tell you how much we love and appreciate you, and thank you for giving us all these people here tonight that was willing to sit here with us for this hour and just listen to us talk and share their thoughts, Lord. I just want to pray for each and every one of them, even though they didn't have a prayer request, Father. I ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Okay, you guys head over to Zach at An American Homestead. And we will see you guys next week. Y'all stay safe, and we shall talk to you later.